you're doing well this week. Boy, have I got some nice things for you today. I'm going to take you on a lovely tour of lavender fields. I promised it. And when I found that these were Instagrammable all over the place, I thought, great, we can go. I'm going to go with my little Pixel phone and I'll take some images for you. And I also thought I'd take you around a little bit of Snows Hill, which is just up the road from these fields, and show you the St Barnabas Church and beautiful Cotswold life buildings. And then I talked to you today about feng shui, an introduction to what you have to consider before you move home and all the elements around that. So quite an interesting little session there, which I thought I might sort of share with you. And before I do that, I just want to tell you that a guy contacted me many moons ago, about after Christmas, January. I posted a video about John Bonham, the drummer from Led Zeppelin. And it wasn't the finest video, one of my early ones, but I took you around Rushock. So check it out if you haven't seen it. I'm going to sort of link it up at the end, because the guy who left a symbol on John Bonham's grave contacted me and said he's so pleased that the writing on the symbol is still there. Now, he went on the 23rd of December 2023 and I went a few weeks later, and I said, gosh, he'll never know that we saw the actual symbol. And then he contacted me to say he's so thrilled he found the video. And also a guy who also visited said he's seen the symbol as well. So isn't it wonderful? That's what YouTube's all about, community. And I can't believe that they, Ricardo Rodriguez found the video that I put out. So I'm so pleased, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Keeping communities going, and don't forget to like and subscribe. That's the whole idea. And I'll catch you later. Give me some comments, see if you like the fields, and what you've considered when you've moved home in the past, and if you're intending to move home, and what you're going to take on board from what I'm about to say. So, catch you later, see you soon, and have a good week if I don't speak to you again. Bye for now. They planted one small field and then it's grown to 70 acres. 20 acres is open to the public. Look at this. The true origins of lavender are unclear, but its qualities for both fragrance and healing properties have been recognised almost since the beginning of recorded civilization. Lavender is thought to have been first domesticated in Arabia, highly prized and valuable for its antiseptic and healing qualities, as well as a high-quality perfume. Lavender became a valuable commodity for traders and is thought to have been brought to Britain by the Romans. When the Romans left England, lavender was grown extensively by monks as part of their physic gardens to provide a whole range of herbal remedies. Lavender soon became entwined within England folklore. A lavender cross was often hung on the door to ward off evil spirits. During the Great Plague of the 17th century, people would tie lavender bunches to their wrists to guard against infection. In 16th century, it was effectively used to guard against cholera. The ancient Greeks and Romans also used to treat ailments such as insect bites, headaches, dizziness, kidney disorders, jaundice and dropsy. During the First World War, it was used with moss poultices for its antiseptic properties when bandages run short. It's known as having a calming and restoring effect, especially good for the treatment of stress or nervous tension. Lavender is thought to relax the body by calming it and has been said to ease depression, irritability, insomnia, amnesia and shock. Lavender likes a well-drained, south-facing, sunny position. They plant on this particular field in the spring and early summer, although lavender can be planted right through until the autumn. A light watering may be required in very dry weather just after planting, but once established, lavender likes dry conditions and will not need watering. The plants here are 18 inches apart and each row is 6 feet from the next. Their machinery is guided by satellite to give planting accuracy to the nearest inch. Isn't the wild meadow lovely, as well as the lavender? Once established, lavender requires little maintenance. Plants need to be trimmed regularly in their first year to promote strong, dense growth. And once established, it only requires cutting once a year just above woody material. Lavender requires little feeding and will thrive in the poorest of soils. There are many types of lavender in a range of sizes and colours, from the classic purple, dark blues through to light blue, pink and white. The lavender grown here started back, as I said, in 1999 with just a few plants. The lavender loves the free-draining limestone soils almost 1,000 feet above the sea level, giving the best growing conditions for the best quality essential oils. The oils here are aged naturally for a year before they use them in their ranges for bath and shower, well-being and home products. When it comes to collecting all the lavender leaves, a full trailer contains around 5 tons of fresh material. It's parked in the distillery and sealed with the lid. Steam produced from naturally softened rainwater is fed in from the floor of the trailer, and this steam causes the oil glands to swell and burst. The oil evaporates and rises up through the trailer with the steam. The lid of the trailer collects the steam and sends it to the condenser cylinder. It takes around 3 hours to extract the oil from one trailer. The oil-rich steam passes through tubes inside the condenser. Cooling water is pumped around the outside of the tubes. This cools the steam until it condenses back to oil and water, which runs out of the bottom of the condenser. The cooling water picks up a lot of heat as it passes through the condenser. And in this particular process, they use this to preheat the water going into the boiler, saving energy. What the boiler doesn't need passes back through a cooler ready to be used again. The oil and water mix drops down into the separation tank via the tall funnel. The oil floats to the top of the tank by gravity where it can be drawn off. The water continues through the tank and out via a weir. This water, also known as floral water or hydrosol, contains small traces of essential oils and is fed back into the boiler to recover these oils next time through, called cohobation. One trailer produces enough lavender to make 15,000 bars of soap. Hello, on this Feel Good Friday, I thought I'd talk about a topic which I learned before I did my adult tutoring many years ago, back in the late 1990s. I was training to be an adult IT tutor, and the tutor said to me at the time, "Oh, I've heard you talking about feng shui. Can't you do some introductory weekend sessions? I'll book it and see how you get on, and we'll see how your teaching style is." Well, she booked it and it was packed. And I've probably said to you before, there was only one disgruntled couple because they thought I'd be Chinese. And I told them that I'd learnt my information through various books. I've got about 3 or 4 books, if not more. And I had an interest in the subject because it's all about harnessing the energy that we live with. Everything is energy, from a table to a person. And I thought I couldn't quite understand why people became ill. And I had a boss that constantly had headaches. And I told him to move his cabinet because the cabinet was pointing at him. And he said, "I don't have the headaches anymore." Because what was happening was what was known as sha qi, which is bad energy pointing at him, because he'd been sitting there for a prolonged period of time. Now, my son had headaches and migraines, and goodness knows it can be all sorts of reasons, but I did have wardrobes and tables pointing at his bed when I look back, and I've had to rechange things over the years. So it just shows you, doesn't it? I sort of got out of the habit of thinking about it, and you need to review these things quite frequently. So today I thought, as a short little snippet, I'd talk about how you approach looking for a new home. Now, I've previously had home inspirational videos going around new homes, and I'm always surprised that the people who decorate these new homes don't have any feng shui knowledge, because one of the big no-nos when you're buying a home is to have lots of mirrors in the wrong place. Now, I know that interior designers like to use mirrors to make places look bigger and brighter and to attract light, which is great, but you should never, ever have a mirror opposite your bed, because it can make you have an unsettled sleep. And how many places do I go into to see people's mirrored wardrobes? They are a complete no-no in hotels and the like. Even if you're opposite a mirror in a hotel room, cover it up with a nightgown or a towel, and you'll have a better sleep. So that's one tip. But go back to why and how you would look for a home. It's quite interesting, isn't it? You go with obviously your budget, and you have to look at the area you want to live in, maybe for work. But one of the most important things to look for is the topography of the landscape. You do not want to be living, and I did as a child, and we had a horrific childhood in this particular house. You don't want to be living with a house where you've got the driveway pointing downwards into your front door. So try, if at all, to be on an even level, or the pathway can go slightly upwards. But if there's a real deep incline, a deep descent to your front door, you can almost feel like the land is coming on top of you and you're not supported. And the other thing is, always have hills or buildings behind you as opposed to great big ones in front. Now, I've got a big building in front of me, but I've got trees and I've got green lawn in front, which helps to dissipate the chi energy. So if there was any ill health coming from anywhere else or any stagnant energy, I've got greenery and floral flowers to soften the negative impacts. When you're looking for a house, you should always make sure, if you possibly can, that there are facilities and amenities. Because if you go to a place and you think, oh, I only want to be out in the middle of nowhere, there might be a time when you need to get a pint of milk, or you might be able to, need to get out and have facilities to be able to survive. And it's all well and good living remotely, but you need to have an ability to get to somewhere, to have transport, whether it's your own personal transport or facilities provided by buses or taxis in the area, so that you can actually move around. The other thing that's quite important is if you've got mountains or hills, that they are behind you rather than in front, because they can be oppressive. But you want them behind you, even buildings, because they can offer support. Buildings that are often in the middle of nowhere on flat land can feel quite unsettling to the individuals, because the wind and all the elements whip round them and there's no protection around that house. So that's another one to look for. If you are in the middle of fields, then growing some sort of foliage behind could sort of nestle you in a little bit more, rather than having it completely empty. The other aspect to consider is water. Now, water is excellent feng shui. Now, where does feng shui come from? Feng shui are two words, and you say feng shui, and it means the wind and water elements between heaven and earth. And in terms of water, it is very auspicious if it's clean, it's clear, and it's flowing. Some people who go to live by the sea often feel unsettled if they live by the sea, because the waves could be crashing in and they almost feel that too much is coming at them. But if they've got undulating, gentle waves and they haven't got such rough seas, then they could feel very invigorated by the ozone and the fresh air that comes with it. So there has to be a fine balance struck. If you live by a canal, it's excellent if the canal is in front of you, or a river, because it's moving water. But if it's behind, you may feel unsettled or missed opportunities in your career, because you're sort of feeling, well, what's that water behind me? I can't actually see it, and you don't feel so supported. In terms of fountains, I had one outside my front door. I got a fountain and I wanted a little I had an electric pump, but the pump was spraying all the water out, so I had to just have this little plop of water. Loved the sound of it, but the water wasn't moving enough, and I've recently thrown it away because it was becoming stagnant with leaves and brown, and the water was smelling, and that is bad feng shui. You need clear water at all times, and you can have internal water features, often people do in offices, and it brings prosperity to the businesses. If you have a cash register in a shop, always have a mirror to mirror and double the profits on the cash register. Very good in terms of receptions in offices and buildings, if they are light, airy, and when you come into the building, you feel energised and welcomed. Same through coming through a front door. Once you've chosen the house of your dreams and you actually go in, you often get a sense of calm and feeling, actually, I feel settled here. And it's funny because when I moved from one area to another, I remember getting to the island where I was moving to, and I thought, oh, I feel at home. And my friend said she felt the same. And yet when I move out of areas to other places, I feel, oh, I don't like this. I can move counties and think, oh, I'm not so sure about this. So it's funny how you get a feeling if you tune in. And in terms of getting into your front door must be maintained. If you've got peeling paintwork, it's a no-no, because it's not a welcoming space and it's starting to show signs of deterioration. My wooden window frames now are needing doing, and I'm aware of it, and eventually they're going to need doing because things need to be maintained. If you let it go to rack and ruin, you start feeling in your life that things change, not for the good. Got a little thumbs up there because I've done that. And in terms of coming through an entrance, I've got a small hallway. I always wanted a big hallway, and just so happens that this house, even though I liked it, didn't have a big hallway. But you have to keep it as free from clutter as possible. Not too many things plonked on the stairway, not too many coats in the hallway. If you haven't got a small hallway, I make sure that coats go now to the back of my house, to the side. I've changed a study into like a boot room come coat room because we didn't have any room to take our shoes and coats off. So that's how I sort of changed that aspect. And when you come into a room, you should feel that there's space. And I feel now that I've changed my settees, if you can see, opposite each other. I never did this for 20 odd years. I've just done it now. I feel so much better. And everybody comes in and goes, oh, that's much better. I never thought, I kept thinking in my head I wanted to do it, never got round to doing it. Had the settee over there, and it blocked the entrance in many ways. There are sacrifices to be made with all sorts of things, but that is coming into the lounge. And then one thing I haven't done, which is you shouldn't have open bookshelves, and I have. I love to see books on shelves. You should have them behind a cupboard. A glass cupboard if necessary if you want to see the actual books, but mine are open, and that's considered sha chi, which is bad energy, because if you were sat there in the corner of mine for a long time, you might feel, oh, a pain in my neck, oh, I don't feel quite settled here. And that's what happens when the sha chi, if you're sitting there for a while, would be focusing at you from those shelves. Some people put plants on the shelves and it softens the sha chi, and chi is energy. It is the life force that's within us, and it's the life force all around us, because everything is energy. And the idea of feng shui is to live in harmony with your surroundings, to harness the good energies, the auspicious energies, and to try and negate any negative energies along the way. So in terms of buying a house, you should always go, or renting a house, you should always go to the area several times at different times in the day. Don't just go on a sunny day. Go on a windy day, go on a dark day, go on a rainy day. Get a feel for the place and the noise elements around. Get a feel for the sounds of the roads, the motorways, the birds. It could be you near a school and you don't realise it, and you don't like the sound of everybody playing in the playground. It could be that you like the sound of everybody playing in the playground. It might be the fact that you like the sounds of life going on. It could be that if you're in a place that you think, oh, I do want the peace and quiet, but then you think, oh, this feels a bit isolating. I'll go back on another time of the day and see what it feels like. It's amazing what you could pick up at different times in the day. So that's a point to consider when you're buying somewhere. And another point is a pathway. You should have a nice pathway that leads to your door. Maybe a couple of plants either side of the door to give balance. Lighting, make sure there's light of a night time so everything's not so dark and dingy. Even solar lights in the summer can bring lovely life to a garden of an evening. It's quite fascinating to see the difference between houses with light. Not that you're going to affect the light pollution, but just houses and gardens that give light so that you're not scrambling around and tripping up in the dark. And what else is there in terms of, pathways? Good to have some greenery, some pathways that are maybe stone, brick, anything that connects with the earth. A little water feature if possible. If you can't, a bowl of water put out for birds and you can see them splashing and having their drink. So that gives the water element, you've got the earth element, you've got the greenery element. And if you haven't got a garden, you live in a flat, you can always put balcony flowers. Look at all the places in Italy that they've got now in terms of bringing greenery right the way through lots of blocks of flats, not just Italy but other countries, as part of being eco-friendly and encouraging wildlife to come to blocks of flats. So that's quite nice, the way they've done that. And what else was I going to say? So you've got lighting, pathways, making sure you're supported. If you live in a terraced road, they say that if there's a line of houses, I used to live in a terraced road, the chi energy can go fast right down the road and be too fast. So to sort of stop that, you could perhaps put bushes at the end or trees at the end of your pathway to slow the chi energy down, because otherwise you could feel like there was traffic going up and down all the time and you might feel unsettled. The other no-no, and this is a huge no-no, and I've known people move into houses and feel unsettled and move straight back out. You should never buy a house opposite a T-junction, because a T-junction is like a poisoned arrow straight at your house. And it's the same as if in companies in Far Eastern countries, if they don't like a competitor in industry, they can put all sorts of points and jagged edges on their construction buildings to point at a competitor, or they could put something that's not very pleasant, which is like a cannon pointing at that building, and it can bring negative forces into the realms of that particular business. So you want to protect your business, make sure that there's no bad energy forces. So lots of greenery to block any poisoned arrows is really essential, both in business and in your home. Now, recently I had a neighbour, some of you will know that this neighbour, after goodness knows what, came round and started shouting at the doorway. And I remember thinking afterwards, right, I'm going to cleanse the bell, because he rang the bell. I'm going to cleanse the doorway and change all the plants outside. And, things have changed. So I'm just thinking, maybe it needed a bit of an extra different change. I've got rid of the stagnant water. And I sort of to look round thinking, what could possibly be a negative force here? And I did have the stagnant pond that was just gathering loads of mildew and soggy wet leaves. So that's gone. Things have improved. So always keep your eye out. And even when you're sitting at a desk at work, make sure, if you possibly can, you have a solid wall behind you. I was at work once many years ago, and I was really upset. I didn't like the people I was working with, and I felt unsettled. I was in a corridor, had people walking behind me the whole time, and I felt like I was being stabbed in the back, and I was. It was jealousy. And by the time I'd got and worked to the top guy and had a wall behind me, let me tell you, things changed very rapidly. I felt totally empowered. Things changed overnight, and there was no stabbing me in the back ever again. And they were going, oh, she's working for the top guy now. I wonder why. And it all changed, and I felt awful in this particular department, with a whole raft of people constantly going behind me and tapping me on the shoulder and stopping me doing what I was doing. It was quite awful. And I remember thinking, I can't change it because they wouldn't let me move the desks. So, before you sit down at a desk, say, I want it changed around, and be determined to say that if you possibly can, if you're in the work environment. So that's that. Always try and have plants nearby a computer, because there's so much yang energy, which is lots of energy coming from a computer. You need to be able to soften that energy and bring balance, and a plant nearby does that. So big workrooms, open plan spaces that don't have any foliage is a no-no. People often get tired, worn out and exhausted. I see it in hospitals. I've been into hospitals and thought, bad feng shui, can't open a window. This is stagnant energy. No good. You should have windows open like they used to do years ago. And you'll notice in my house, I fling every window open in the morning and I have fresh energy coming through, fresh chi energy, fresh air, fresh oxygen. I can't stand, I won't even go in hotels where you can open a window half, like that, and they smell of their spray that they've been spraying. It's awful. I think they need to be able to have old-fashioned windows. I know there's always a security issue of people jumping out of windows, but you won't catch me in a hotel. One of these ones, I feel claustrophobic. I can't open the window. It's the most awful thing, I think, that's been invented. You need to be getting fresh air in, especially when there's long corridors of rooms. It's not good. It's not good for your health, and you'll never get a decent night's sleep. So there you have it. That's an introduction to, before you buy a house, what are the considerations? Facilities, location, support behind your house, good doorway, open, clear entrances, and you get a feel in your own heart as to whether it's good, bad or indifferent. So that's a quick summary. Hope you've enjoyed that, and next time we'll talk about each individual room, decor and all the rest. See you soon. Hope you enjoyed that. Give me any comments that you maybe you've moved into a house and you felt unsettled or whatever. Let me know. Thanks again. Bye.
We've been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. Picking up all our friends, fill up the car till it bends because we wanna. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young.